Good morning. Making sure this is rolling on Facebook before I start Instagram here. Alrighty. We are rolling here. Good deal. Let me get Instagram going. Hey everyone. Some folks rolling on Instagram. We got Facebook rolling. Welcome to the PT on Ice Daily Show. Glad you all are here with me this cool December morning. Hi, welcome. Good morning. I am Dr. Alexis Morgan. I am one of two lead faculty with clinical management of the fitness athlete, pregnancy and postpartum, where we have our online cohort, which is 8 weeks long. And in 2022, we have our live course. And that is starting just in a few months here in February. Already got a lot of seats filled up for that course, and we are really looking forward to that. Excited to see you all out on the road in 2022. If you're curious about any of our courses, you can head on to ptonice.com/r-courses to find all of that information. We're going to get rolling on today's topic, losing your period. We're changing the narrative here. So, if any of you, probably several of you, watched the Dubai CrossFit Championship this weekend. I know we had it streaming on YouTube and on Instagram, and it was funny in the clinic we had the TV on and we were displaying the CrossFit Championship, and all of our clients thought we had a brand new TV. It is never on as a rule, but when CrossFit is on, we will be streaming that. So it's fun to be keeping up with that and watching that championship. And one of the things that I really was excited to see, and I know a lot of people were as well, and probably several of you all, was seeing Sarah Sigmundsdottir coming back from her ACL surgery. So she had that, if you're not following, she had this surgery about 9 months ago and was told that, maybe she can return to sport in 8 or 9 months. So she had the Dubai CrossFit Championship kind of on her tentative plans and decided to roll through with it. And she finished 7th, which was really, really cool to see that. And just to see all that hard work that she'd put in with her physical therapist and in the gym and doing all of the things to return. And she's really been on my mind a lot because she's been really outspoken about her experience with losing her period. And if you've listened to any of the interviews with her, she's talked about it. And I just wanted to talk about that with you all here this morning, partially because of just the big platform that she has, and that she's been kind of discussing this, and partially from my own experience with losing my period. And just wanted to really share a couple of narratives here that so that we can all learn together and ultimately be able to help our people in our own lives and our own gyms and our own our own patients that we see. So first of all, we talked about it a lot here, and if you're a regular listener on Mondays with Christina or myself, you've heard us talk about REDS, and that stands for relative energy deficiency in sport. So it really comes from this low energy availability compared to the energy that it takes, not only to do your sport, but also to just do everything that your body needs it to do, such as your brain functioning, your immune system, your bones to be able to build back up. Same with muscles to build back up after they are broken down from exercise. we need a sufficient amount of energy to do all of that. And if it is too low, or if it is relatively low compared to what we are eating, when that imbalance is present, then we're going to have an imbalance in our bodies. And this used to be called the female athlete triad. And that triad was the osteoporosis, the amenorrhea, or the loss of a period for multiple months, and eating disorder. That's probably how several of you learned about this. We now know in the literature that really this is the female athlete triad, that it's not sufficient for multiple reasons. Number one, this is not just a female problem. This happens to all people. So no longer can we use gender in this conversation. It's male, it's female, it's everyone this could occur to. Number two, if we wait until someone has osteoporosis or even osteopenia, it is far too late. We have done just like what the traditional medical system does in waiting until it's a fire blazing before we help someone. It is way too late to start when there are problems with your bones. Zero disordered eating, like what we think of with that, like on purpose, or like super, super skinny. This could just be a simple imbalance and miscalculation and an accident. So we no longer call it that female athlete triad, because we recognize that those words, that doesn't cover the spectrum of what is the problem with REDS. It's way more comprehensive, REDS, or relative energy deficiency. Sarah Sigmundsdottir talks about she lost her period for 2 years. 2 years. She now is discussing that this is not normal. And she tells the story actually of how she went to a physician who was older in practice and not familiar with the female athlete, definitely not familiar with the professional level of athlete that she was, and just kind of brushed it off and said, "Oh, that's normal. You're fine. You're an athlete. You're fine." Where she was really concerned about her later fertility and how that would impact her. What she didn't know, and what that physician didn't tell her, was that losing your period for 2 years has way more implications than just fertility down the road. It affects your bone health. And that's exactly what we saw occur to her twice. She broke 2 different ribs, her first rib and I think her 9th rib, the lower rib in the 2018 games. So she's having these bone fractures, and we have to see that correlation of the loss of the period, that she was training at such a high volume, and it's apparent given all of this and what she's talked about that she was not fueling herself appropriately to match that demand that her body needed. And so it's unable to keep up. And it's not just unable to keep up in that reproductive system. That's just very obvious to us when we lose our period. But it wasn't able to keep up in her bone, like her musculoskeletal system. And she was having all of these injuries. So I love that she's out there talking about how it's not normal to lose your period for 2 years. I think that's really, really exciting that this is becoming more a mainstream conversation. My problem with it, on the flip side, is she still does say that it's, quote, normal to lose your period for a few months before competition because of that volume increase. Again, we kind of get into that conversation of the common, normal, what do we want to call it here? But physiologically, it is a sign of distress if your body is losing its period. And so it's really just this outward sign that we've got to get everything back into balance. Otherwise, we may have some injuries upcoming, and we may have all of these other issues, anxiety, depression, just brain fog in general. All of these things that we don't want to have as professional people. Professional athletes don't want to have a brain fog in the middle of a workout, and you can sure bet that none of us want to have injuries that set us back, that make us do rehab, or that make us not be able to compete. Nobody wants that. And our period is a really, really great sign that something is wrong. And it's a little bit of a later sign, but it's not nearly as late as bone fractures, osteopenia, any of that. So we can catch this on the earlier side. As a caveat, this is really only applicable and trustworthy in individuals who are not on hormonal contraceptives. If you're on a hormonal contraceptive, that will induce a bleed that is going to occur no matter the energy levels in your body. So when having this conversation with clients, patients, friends, athletes at the gym, recognize that we cannot use the period as an indicator, or in people who are using the hormonal contraceptives. So I just recently had my own experience with REDS, which was very humbling and really ironic considering I talk about this all the time. We talk about it in our online cohort, in our online class, where we spend a full week discussing this. And it's amazing and scary and sad and beautiful when we all kind of come together and talk about our experiences. For many people, it's the first time that they've recognized that they too had an experience with REDS and had no idea, and the medical system did not know how to care for them. So I talk about this all the time. So then to experience it was a really weird situation, but I had very low energy for a couple of months. I was extremely forgetful, and I just thought it was because I had a lot of stuff going on. I was recovering very terribly on my whoop, and just a lot of things kind of culminating together. And I was 15 days late on my period. I was not pregnant, and I was concerned because my period was has been very regular for years now. And so to be over 2 weeks late was extremely concerning. And actually during the time I still was just late. Like I hadn't gotten my period yet. And I got injured on a Saturday training at CrossFit. And this Saturday training was just like any other training. Like it wasn't like I massively broke my acute to chronic workload ratio. I was doing the same things I always do. Like there was nothing else to describe the reason why I got injured, other than looking back, I recognized there was a massive discrepancy between energy in and energy out. I'd recently removed food from my diet to try to help with eczema, and I was unable to refuel in the same way from removing those calories. And it just happened as I'm talking about it to everyone. And so I share that because we just have to recognize this occurs to so many people. And if you look at me, you wouldn't think that I had disordered eating. You wouldn't think that I was in a deficit for an extended period of time. Like, you wouldn't, I don't look like, and Sarah Sigmundsdottir doesn't look like that female athlete triad in your head. And that's what I really wanted to bring forward to you all today, that it may not look like anything. We have to dig into the history and understand the history of eating and the history of training and see kind of where all of that lines up. Women are not talking about it because they don't know. Coaches are not talking about it or asking because they don't know. And even our medical system is not talking about it because our medical system doesn't know either. And so we're on a mission to tell everyone about this and to share experiences and to share stories, because this occurs. And if we can catch it for people early, then we can help them, and we can help prevent unnecessary injuries. We can help prevent issues with fertility and trying to get a period only when we're trying to have kids. A lot of the medical system just says, oh, it's fine if you don't have your period. Just come back when you're ready to have kids. How does that make any sense? So we're here today to talk about our period is normal and necessary for our functioning. And it's a really good sign of our balance in our system. And when we don't have that, or course of time, maybe as we're beginning to talk, they also have anxiety, depression, GI issues, head fog. So many of these pop up with that relative energy deficiency. And the answer is pretty simple in a lot of cases. I'm not going to blanket statement that, but we've got to just get the energy in, up, and or the energy out, down, so that we can get into this balance. For me, I went back up to 3,000 calories a day, and which is my normal, and I got my period back, and it wasn't very long, and now I'm recovering from this hip injury and rehabbing. And not everyone is going to have it so simple like mine, but I have to just think that if we can catch it so early for these people, maybe we can have way more stories like this than we do of people losing their period for years and struggling to get that back. So the more we all know about it, then the more we can help other people learn and know and be healthy, and be the healthiest, most robust versions of themselves. So that's it for this morning. I hope that was helpful for you all. Listen, if you have an experience with RED-S and you wouldn't mind sharing, I would love to hear your experience in the comments. Comment below and tell us, like, if you've experienced it, or you maybe think you have. Be really curious to get a conversation going in the comments section. So one last plug for our courses. We've got our online course starting January 3rd. That is our 8-week cohort, and you can sign up today online. And then we've also got several live courses in the books for 2022. The first one being right here in my clinic and my CrossFit Henderson. And 20th. We would love to see you out on the road. And with that, have a happy Monday, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptionice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.